I have always been an immense overthinker. It's to a fault. I'm incredibly indecisive and nervous, and I remember that when I started working on that show, I thought I was gonna get fired every time I went there because when I auditioned, yeah, because when I auditioned, I had only 3 lines maybe, and I worked those lines multiple times on the 2.5 3 hour drive up to LA. Okay, this is so easy. You just got to go in there, say these 3 lines, and I messed up one of the lines. I switched the words around, and I thought, oh my goodness, I just had my mom do this drive and I'm not going to book this job. And then I booked the job and I realized, oh, I really look like Gina Rodriguez though. So it makes sense as to why they cast me. This is strictly for look because they tell you that too, when you book jobs. Oh, well, you were great, but you didn't look enough like this person or oh, whatever. So then I associated myself getting the job with the fact that I look like Gina. So every time I went there, I felt I had something to prove. Also, my parents told me that they told me two things that when I started to become an actor. If you do this job, you're going to be given a platform that a lot of people may not have or ever get the opportunity to have, so you have to use it for good. You can't go around there and do nothing. You have to enforce some sort of positive change. They said that, and they also said good grades. If you don't have good grades, then we're pulling you out. You got to focus on school. School's the priority, college is the goal. So I said, all right, all right. I always had perfect grades, A plus, A plus. So I also during that time, I think I just tend to stress myself out a lot because if I wasn't doing the absolute best on my essays or if I wasn't going to the Jane the Virgin set and shaking everybody's hand and greeting everyone with a smile and making sure that they're all right and that I was attentive and listening and not distracted. Um, I don't know. I kind of felt as if I was always on, which I think is a common term that entertainers use because it is that performative act, which kind of makes you feel weird too. Because then you go home at the end of the day and you turn it off, and it's oh man, I almost don't know what to do with myself because I don't have to answer to somebody or I don't know put all this extra work in. And I would. It was drive up to LA, film, drive back home to the desert, do all my schoolwork in the car, go to it was just very but it was a schedule that I was comfortable with, but I was always on edge. And I think I still am in a lot of ways. I think it's just the way I operate and if I do have a moment to kind of relax or calm myself a bit, I don't like to because I feel as though I'm being unproductive and I'm not getting anything done. And then what does that mean for my future and my life? And what am I going to become?
We're in middle school, you were going to school, but how often do you feel like you missed class? How often, were you doing a lot of makeup? That was probably a lot of stress, right?
I started missing a lot of class. It got bad once I started doing the Disney show. Because then that's when I had to be pooled eventually at some point. But Jane the Virgin, it depended because there was also other jobs that I was doing. So sometimes I would say typically in a week, I would maybe miss 1 or 2 days of school. uh, I would just take all my teachers knew that I would leave and I would just take my homework or take assignments ahead of time. But it depended on the episode where maybe sometimes I would be gone a week. Maybe I wouldn't leave school for 2 weeks. It was just inconsistent, but also consistent.
When you were getting out of school, was it exciting? And then as you missed more and more school and it felt like your career was taking off, did you have nostalgia for it and want to go back?
Mm. Yeah, I have been described by multiple people and I agree with them that I'm the kind of person who will never be satisfied because it's either I'm so excited or I want to go to work, I want to be working so bad, I want to focus on my passion and what makes me happy, or oh man, but I miss school and what am I missing? And my friends had this today, or I had this assignment in class today that I really wanted to participate in. So there was I will say that there was more of a thrill or an eagerness to go to work just because that was the main goal and oh whoa I'm going to Los Angeles, and this is an experience maybe I could tell my friends about if they're interested, which my friends are super cool and super supportive, but we never really talked about work ever. But it was just more so, whoa, whoa, I'm doing something and I'm getting out there and I'm leaving this small town bubble. And that was really cool for me. But then, a majority of being an actor is waiting. So then it was always those long dressing room moments where I'm, kicking rocks for 4 hours where I'm thinking, oh man, I missed frog dissection today. And that's just going to crush me.